Goodwin on the edge. Trying to get him to use that speed, but nowhere to go. Got about 3 yards. It'll be 3rd down and long coming up. Well, UT fans, put your eyes upon the Longhorn Network. Unprecedented access to Texas sports. For more information and a list of providers, visit longhornnetwork.com. Pivotal 3rd down coming up. 3rd and 9. McCoy 7 of 8 passing. And he stays in the game here on this series. Davis to the bottom of the screen. McCoy delivers. And it's incomplete. And a flag throw now, a late one, intended for Darius White. Preston Hadley was defending on the play.
I think they may. Yeah, I think they're going to get illegal touching on Darius White. I believe he went out of bounds and was had not established himself by the time he came in. You could see the side judge with no hat, which means he threw his hat down to indicate that White was out of bounds.
Touching. Offense number 4 voluntarily went out of bounds, came back in bounds, and was the first to touch the ball. Penalty enforced at the previous spot. Lost it down. 4th down.
So what that means is when the receiver goes out of bounds by not force from a defender, which White does right there, even though White comes back in and establishes himself barely in the field of play, you can't be the first to touch it. Now, if the defender pushes you out and then you come back in and establish yourself, then you can be the first to touch it, but not in that case.
Oh, great explanation. We had that happen with Jackson Shipley last week. Fair catch called at the 20. 39-yard punt, nothing on the return. 6:03 to go. Does Jake Heaps have any answers for the Cougars offense? Sunday NFL Countdown returns this season. New start time, 3 hours in all, with everything you need to know. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM and ESPN at 10 a.m. Also, Sunday morning ESPN 2 debuts a new lineup. Outside the Lines with Bob Lee at 10. Sports Reporters at 10:30. Outside the Lines and Sports Reporters Sundays now on ESPN 2. All right, the Cougars with the ball. Starting from their own 20-yard line. They've had 3 3-and-outs and a field goal here in the second half. The offense sputtering. Heaps complete. And tackled immediately by Adrian Phillips as J.D. falls left.
Phillips in a group of 3 cornerbacks with Bindum and Quandre Diggs, young guys who are asked a lot in this defense. Manny Diaz said, we ask more of our corners than most schools, but these young men have good work ethic. They're very in tune. And that time a good read by Phillips on the flat route.
2nd and long. Oppo's been quiet since getting that touchdown early in the game. And a flag thrown.
Yeah, they're going to get Braden Brown, the right tackle.
That's a second BYU penalty of the night.
How opposite are these two halves?
Yeah, different game.
Yeah, I mean, it's BYU is doing a lot of the things that Texas was doing in the first half, and Texas, just the other way, is playing lights out defensively now.
2nd and 16. I'm not sure they got the playoff. Another flag down. Boy, Cougars imploding here.
Well, the yardage in the second half tells the story. Texas 161. BYU right now in the second half has 57 yards of total offense.
Whatever Manny Diaz has done with his defense here in the second half is working. False Levin motion to the top of your screen. Heaps underneath, completes it to Cody Hoffman. Picks up about 5. It'll be 3rd down About 16 to go. Keenan Robinson making the stop on the play.
You get the feeling that this clock is, if they don't pick up this first down and you're BYU, it's not going to take much for Texas offensively to start getting that thing down towards zeros. This isn't the whole game, but this is a big third down, and unfortunately because of the penalties, it's 3rd and a mile. We have not seen a really long throw. I think you have to let Heaps let one go here on a post.
Works out of the shotgun. Takes a shot up top. And it's picked off at the 40-yard line by Diggs. His 2nd interception of the night thrown by Jake Heaps.
There's Brandon Doman over there talking to Heaps. Really, Diggs just reads this the whole way. He's playing a zone. He's got the deep third of the field on that side. Cover 3, which means 3 deep guys. So Diggs is bailing the whole way. I don't think Heaps knew that Diggs had the deep. I think he thought the corner was going to roll up and he was going to be able to get a step and trying to lead his receiver. But Diggs, a young freshman.
Yeah, one of those 18 that played last week against Rice.
And they say he's like an old soul. Of course, his brother, Quentin Jammer, also an NFL player.
And off to Malcolm Brown. And Malcolm Brown picks about 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Looking forward to the play calling now. How do you risk not getting too conservative if you're Texas?
Well, they've been able to run the ball so in the second half. I mean, you know, it's not like they're picking up 8, 9, 10 yards, but they've been getting 3, 4, 5. I think you can get a little conservative, but what you don't want to get to is where you force yourself to only throw on 3rd down. You still want to mix in a throw occasionally in 1st and 2nd down.
David Ash in at quarterback now. McCoy had been in 14 of the last 15 plays, and Ash keeps it himself, gains about a yard on the play. It'll be 3rd down coming up.
And Ash comes up limping.
A gain of 1. That's going to be a timeout called. BYU with 1 remaining now.
I like the call. This is the drive. This is absolutely the drive. You're getting to a place where Texas is going to be able to run out the clock if they pick up a 1st down. And so BYU use the timeout here, allow your bigger bodies to get some rest. I think that's a very good strategic move. And now for Texas, you're 3rd and long.
Yeah.
I think Case McCoy has to come in, and Jackson Shipley. I think it's the McCoy Shipley that you've been talking about. That's, call it McCoy Shipley 2.
Why not?
There's
the 2 have wreaked a little havoc on that BYU defense tonight.
And it'll be McCoy versus Shipley tomorrow when the Browns play the Bengals. But that was just a spectacular catch as Shipley jumped over. That ball fit in so nicely by McCoy. And it's almost eerie how much they look like their brothers as they're playing.
Well, last week, Kyle Van Noy right there made a key play, a big hit and a fumble recovery for the touchdown against Ole Miss for the win. Can he come up with a play here? A fake reverse and throw, wide open. Brian Harsin dials up a little magic, and David Ash makes the catch. He brought it from Boise State down to the Lone Star State. A pickup of 23.
Well, and it was last week that John Harris, threw one to Shipley. This time it's Shipley throwing one to the quarterback, and Texas very close to being able to run out the clock now without picking up another 1st down. I'm not quite sure they can.
Ash keeps him and gets rocked back at the 34-yard line. BYU with just 1 timeout remaining. Sampson with the big hit on Ash.
I think you wait to take that timeout. I think you wait till 2nd down, because if Texas picks up the 1st, it's gone.
They can use it here.
But I think what BYU is saying, they're looking at that chart, the chart saying how many plays it takes and what you're going to run off the clock. Now they're out of timeout. So I understand why Mendenhall took it here. You know, that sometimes the theory is take it after 2nd or 3rd down, but
boy, BYU's offense shut down totally here in the second half, and maybe it's more a case of Texas's defense standing up. But in the second half, Case McCoy and David Ash and Brian Harsin pressing the right buttons from up top.
I think BYU got a little conservative in the second half, though. You know, they had a couple of 3rd and longs where they ran delayed draws, and it felt to me like they should have put a little bit more on their quarterback. But when they did, nothing was open. So, you know, it's easy to say that, but the way that Texas has played in this second half on both sides with the quarterback rotation and switching out Garrett Gilbert for McCoy.
Case McCoy in the ball game right now under the center. They hand it off to Malcolm Brown, powering ahead. And Brown picks up 5.
And the reason you can have Malcolm Brown in the game as a true freshman, he's one of those rare freshmen who very rarely has negative yardage plays. He just understands, take what's there. You don't have to bounce everything. So even though he's a true freshman, he's a guy who his skill set matches trying to run the clock down. And now Texas is going to take this all the way down. Wouldn't be surprised if they let this go to 0 and take the timeout. I think that's the right strategic play by Mac Brown.
Looking at a 3rd down and 8. Case McCoy, the sophomore, in at quarterback. Getting a little dap from Jackson Shipley, and a lot of smiles there behind head coach Mac Brown. And as you said, Ed, takes the timeout.
Now, here's the question. This is a throwing down, 3rd and long. So if you throw it and it's incomplete, you're really helping BYU. There's too much time on the clock if this is an incomplete pass. I think you have to run the ball here. I think you're going to see some type of maybe not a reverse or something. I think you're going to see something tricky from Harsin here, but they're absolutely going to keep it on the ground. So now if you're BYU and you know that, get your safeties down. Get everybody down. I just don't think Texas is going to risk a throw here. So I think for BYU, you can then say, we're not really worried about it. Let's scoot our safeties down and let's get this run stopped, because once that's over, 40-second play clock, kick the field goal, you're going to be inside probably 30-40 seconds at up 4.
But he was the guy, Brian Harsin, that had that Statue of Liberty fake reverse at Boise State against Oklahoma with the marriage proposal on the sideline. Remember?
He didn't call the marriage proposal.
Okay.
Yeah.
3rd and 8.
Yeah, but I think this ball stays on the ground. I just think there's going to be some type of well, you know, they're going to go Shipley, or excuse me, Case McCoy with a bunch receiver set. Look for a misdirection here.
Brown in the backfield. Brown with the call, breaks a tackle. Malcolm Brown with the 1st down and then some, and that just might do it. And a look of relief on the face of Brian Harsin and on Mac Brown's face. A 14-yard gain.
And this is something that Texas has wanted to do for the last 2 years, is have a running game at the end of the game that they could rely on. They've got a young back in Malcolm Brown who looks like the real deal. They call a draw play, a good changeup for Harsin. We have not seen a lot of delayed draw plays, and Malcolm Brown finishes this. He just runs through tackles. He's got a good edge, and now you take the knee. Ball game. Great win for Texas.
Under a minute to go, and barring a miraculous finish, McCoy takes the knee. BYU out of timeouts. And what a difference a half makes for the Texas Longhorns, and what a night it's been, especially for that young man, the sophomore Case McCoy. And a story of different halves. Jake Heaps, meanwhile, boy, looking rather concerned. A look of what hit him really.
Tough loss for BYU. They played so well in the first half. Give all the credit to Texas in the second half. They played really well, but now they've got to bounce back. They've got a big in-state rivalry game against Utah next week at their place.
We'll have that for you. We'll be up in Provo as McCoy takes a knee again, and that should do it. This one is cooked, glazed, and sliced on a wild night at the quarterback position for Texas. Gilbert started but didn't finish. McCoy and Ash came to finish in the job.
And if you're a Texas fan after what happened last year, they lose this game in 2010. And I think you better be overjoyed as a Longhorn fan for how this team hung in. It could have gotten ugly early. Their defense caused some field goals after giving up some yardage. They made all the adjustments they needed, including at quarterback. It's a big